Hey, you guys, welcome to Tuesday Night Book Club. My name's Leah Pearson, Emerald Ambassador. Excited to go over chapters 13 to 15 and what to say when you talk to yourself. Really good stuff. I feel like the more personal growth books I read, like it's so cool how it all just interconnects. And it's like, well, yeah, that's why these successful people are writing it because they have similar traits and similar ideas and all the things. But I really liked, and I'm going to just kind of be brief because I do have like a exercise I want us to do together. But I really liked chapter 13. He was just talking about how like you have to keep things simple or it's not going to work. The whole idea of keeping personal growth practices super simple so they're sustainable is so smart. It aligns with, I feel like it aligns with many things we've read. Made me think of Slight Edge, a couple other books that we've previously done as well. Did anyone relate? Give me a hands up, yes, or in the chat, whatever. If something takes too much time or is too complex, you're not going to keep doing it. Hello, right? Moms here, right? Like back to school time. I know Justine and I are like cranking with homeschool stuff. It's just a lot. And he talked about that. Improving yourself, it basically competes with your daily life, your time, your energy, your mind, the time you're spending working. I've heard that before, like with people that I've coached, they're like, well, I got to get like my IPA done. Like I understand like the personal growth aspect, but I got to get my IPA done. So it competes with all those things, taking care of your family, your basic needs, sleep, all of it, right? Making changes on the inside that's seldomly as easily accomplished as we would like it to be, is what he said. But he was talking about how if you improve who you are, you will improve your life. He says that on page 89. And so I think he just was kind of setting us up for what he's talking about in chapter 15, a super, super simple thing to do to grow personally. I love that. But in order to achieve anything, you have to rewire it and replace some of your old programming as kind of the essence of everything that he's been saying, right? In order to be successful. And in chapter 14, he gets to the how. And I was also talking to a couple teammates about this the last couple of weeks. Like, I'm really liking this book. He's got me super intrigued. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat is kind of what I keep thinking. But then it's like, okay, how? Like, how are we supposed to improve the self-talk? Like, what does this look like? Like, give us some practical ways to do it, right? And that's basically what he's doing here. So he gave 5 ways to rewire that old programming. This is chapter 14. And they were silent self-talk, self-speak, which is like speaking out loud, self-conversation, which I thought was hilarious. I've never done that before. If you have like had a conversation with yourself before, like what he was saying, I want to know. Please let me know. I've not. I've done I think Tony Robbins, says it, and like I've heard different people say it before where like you speak over yourself, like looking in the mirror. Like I've done that, but I've not like went back and forth like what he was talking about. I thought that was super interesting. And then the recorded self-talk. So which one of the ones of these have you done? Is that what Ben does? Yes, my husband talks to himself a lot. Justina knows this. I will have to ask him. But yeah, like the literally out loud back and forth, it's super interesting. Which ones of these have you done though? Like, have you done some of this? I definitely have done. I mean, we all have the silent self-talk, right? So something that, you become aware of it. It's the thought, that dialogue in your head. It's something that with awareness, you can realize that just because it's a thought doesn't mean it's the truth, right? Different personal development books have talked about this. You can call it, lots of people call it different things, but it's like, you're not just thinking, you're thinking about what you're thinking. So you can call it mindfulness, introspection, or metacognition is a word I've heard before too. And this whole chapter, like this whole thing, takes me to 2 Corinthians 10:5, which talks about how you need to take your thoughts captive and realizing that not all thoughts are truth, that we need to scoop those up and replace them with the truth. Like if it's something you need to take captive, scoop it up, replace it. And I know as believers, most of us know this, but, just stepping back and looking at like these 5 things and the stuff that he's talking about in these chapters, like he's giving us practical tools on how to do this. So self-speak, like I said, um, so silent talk is when what you're saying, like the dialogue in your head, sorry. And then self-speak is what you're saying out loud. And I wanted to just touch on for this one, the Bible says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I think it's good to look at patterns of what you find yourself saying about your business. So if you're stuck on the same thought, the same limiting mindset, you have like certain hangups, those things are going to keep coming up in your coaching calls, like what you're saying to your mentor. Those things are going to keep coming up when you talk about your business, when you talk to your spouse about your business. And those are things you need to, be made aware of. But I think it's important to like look for those patterns. The self conversation, like I said, I've done like where I've talked to myself over myself, like in a mirror, but I've not done the back and forth. So I thought that was super interesting. But I was researching that a little bit more, and basically, like, it's powerful because as many senses as you can use for, and I've known this like with visualization, with different things, as many senses as you can use, the more powerful of a response you're going to get from that as far as like rewiring your brain. So if you are having to fully think everything through that you're talking about, if you're hearing it, if you're thinking about it from both sides, like you're using a lot more brain power and senses. So if you're holding both sides of the conversation, it makes sense why it would work to rewire your brain. The self-write made me think of journaling. Does anybody journal here? I do. I definitely do. I think it's a really powerful practice. He did mention that it's harder for some than others, but I think it's worth trying at least. And then the recorded self-talk. I've heard of people doing this. I think I've done it, a little bit. It's essentially like having affirmations that you're like listening to, basically. I wanted to let you guys know, I do have a YouTube link of my former pastor's wife. She put together a business blessings like affirmation that you can listen to on YouTube. And I remember starting my business and like listening to that quite a bit, and just did not stay in that habit and pulled that back out again and wanted to share that with you too. So I'll put that in the chat here in a little bit. But I really liked what he was saying about how if you are doing the listening portion of this, like it's just super, super easy. It's sustainable. So if you have done that where you've like listened to affirmations before, let me know. I'm curious if you have any tools on that. We are going to put together a tool together here in a little bit. And then he was also talking about in the last chapter about the three things. So monitoring, immediately editing, listening, and repetition. Four things, I guess, that he was talking about. Like you need to monitor your self-talk, immediately edit it. So like catching yourself in the moment, listening to positive self-talk or like listening to those affirmations, because it models for you how you can rewire something. So if you catch yourself in a negative thing, it'll help you to know like how to counter that, basically. And then a big key is repetition in order to be able to actually rewire your brain. And then he did mention his app at the end. Did anybody look at that by chance? I'm curious. I did. I really love it. I haven't like done it. I downloaded it this afternoon and I just listened through a couple things and I'm like, this actually is fantastic. He's got a 30-day free trial. So go to that website and you can download the app and just try it like for 30 days. So throwing that out there. There is a like business success one. There's a self-esteem one, or self-esteem or self-confidence. There was one in there I'm going to have my kids listen to, like for preteens, that talks about like keeping a good attitude and working hard and, things like that. So good stuff. I am going to pause there and I'm going to let you guys share. And then when we have about 7 minutes left, I'm going to have us do a little bit of an exercise together. And part of it is going to be like identifying anything that has been like negative self-talk in your business. So if that's something that you want to unmute and share, like, yeah, I've had this reoccurring thought that I'm catching myself, like I'm aware of this. This is what I've noticed has come up on coaching calls, like whatever. Would love to have you share, or if there's anything else that stood out in these chapters. go ahead and do that now. And then, like I said, I will lead us in like an action step at the end here. So would love to hear from you guys.
Well, first, I was imagining like our next Plexus trip, we're all in the airport talking to ourselves so that no one sits next to us. Um, and then I was like, how's that going to work out if we're going to like make new friends on social media? But here we are talking to ourselves. So I was just laughing, like imagining that. Um, but I also like, I really liked the part of the story where the wife was listening to stuff and it ended up affecting her husband, even though he didn't seem like he cared at all. And I wasn't really thinking of it like for my husband, but I was thinking like we have some other family stuff going on right now. And I'm like, I'm going to start playing stuff out loud. So, like, whether people like it or not, like, maybe that will help. Um, so I was thinking of it more like that, but I also noticed like it's easy for me to like have like a time period or like a spurt of being really good at editing my self-talk and stuff. And then I don't know how or why, but I'll eventually like kind of forget to do it. Like you said, like you just got out of that habit of listening to that YouTube thing. And I'm not sure why that happens, but then randomly I'll be like, oh yeah, like I'm supposed to be doing this and like start kind of doing it again for a little while. But I always seem to kind of like fall back out of that. So I was curious, like, if any of you like ever have done that or if you ever like finally overcame that to where like you're consistently good at editing your self-talk. I'm curious like what changed or was it you just had to like keep redoing it, like every time you realized it or what was that? But it's weird because I'm really good at catching my kids with that. Like when they say something or, I'll be like, oh, is that like really what you're trying to say? Or, but for myself, it's really easy for me to kind of like just quit the habit, I guess. So.
I think that community really helps that. That's the first thing that comes to mind, Justina. Like, and I'm thinking like my husband. Like this is why coaching calls are important. It's important to be around, good community because we all have hard seasons where you just get kind of worn down, right? Like that just it happens. But I think that's the beauty of like Jamie in the most loving way, like she does. Like she's firm, speaks truth, but is loving. Like, hey, like correction, right? It's the iron sharpens iron. My husband just was saying that to me too. Like, he was correcting me on some things. I think just keeping an open mind to being willing to be sharpened and not isolating. And it's okay. Like, it's real. It's an awareness thing. I did put that YouTube in the chat if you guys want to grab that. Anybody else?
I've never done the self conversation in the way that I think maybe what he's intending. Like I have done that before, um, especially when I know I'm going into a hard conversation or I'm going to be going into a meeting or I'm going to be going into something where like I need to be very like on point and I know that there's going to be, maybe higher tensions or higher, things of that nature. I have literally sat there and talked through out loud or replayed and like will re-go through my monologue out loud. So I don't know that it's necessarily like self-talk in the way that he sent in like having a back and forth conversation and not necessarily even positive, but definitely out loud and definitely very focused, but like role playing both sides of the conversation, but not about myself, about whatever it is that I'm going into doing. So I've done that without even knowing that that was like a thing. And I always thought I was a little weird for it. but maybe I was onto something.
Yeah,
It's the closest I can get to the self-talk or the self-conversation.
but it was helpful, like in that instance too,
Oh,
right?
totally.
So, like, I think it,
Totally. And made me feel so confident going into those hard conversations that I was going to be going into. And the shower is where it tends to happen the most. So I guess it's a little less awkward because nobody else is around.
didn't he say that shower talk somewhere? Didn't he say that? I swear he said that in the chapter somewhere.
But like that's where I have usually some of my best thoughts and ideas too. So
Yeah.
that's just one thing I've become aware of.
hmm I think if you can harness that towards like specific, like, recognizing that self-talk, and then it's like, it's essentially like coaching yourself through it, right? And not only is that great for, I was thinking about this, rewiring your brain, but also like um, preparing you to like coach somebody, practicing, like you're coaching yourself. Good stuff. Anybody else? Did you become aware of any negative self-talk in regards to your business? I'm getting some faces. Me too.
I think like for me, something that I've noticed in the negative realm is just that my initial thought always is that it just takes my time. And he wrote in here that it's like competing for other good things in our life, right? But it on the flip side of that, and like where I need to just like go and edit and correct right away is thinking about like it adds purpose, it adds financial benefits to our family, it adds friendships, it adds like helping others feel better, like all the positives that come from it are all things that I love. And so just catching that sooner and realizing that if this is what God wants me doing, then like it will make it all feel worth it to give up
Mhm.
that time. Um, and I don't even think, I think I need to get out of my head that it's like that negative of thing because it's just part of life. Like balancing a lot of good things is just part of life. And so to not let it feel so negative right away of like, this takes my time. Well, there's a lot of things I do in a day that take my time and
Mhm.
they're good things. So just learning to balance it, but like speaking a different story to myself that this isn't taking from me. Yes, it's requiring my time, but it's not requiring my time in a negative way that like takes time away from other things I'd like to be doing. So, um, yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good thing to just realize that that's kind of been my initial, maybe a little more negative self talk that needs to get replaced with
Mhm.
all the positives of it.
Yeah. And it keeps coming up because it's that old programming. And then that old programming is like a ceiling that you're just having a hard time getting through, right? So that's why he talks about like the repeating. You have to put it on repeat. It takes time to rewire that. Good
For
stuff.
sure.
Anyone
I need a
else?
hard reset, a complete wipe, and do over.
What's the movie where the guys in the tuxedos like click and erase everybody's brain? I need that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I knew that.
Men in Black, yes. Okay. I don't want to cut off anyone else who wanted to talk, but I'm going to because I want to give us time. So, um, all right. What I want you to do is we're going to take, and this is going to be kind of fast and furious, but I wanted you to have something that you can take with you into the week and start implementing this right away. So, like an action step. We've been talking about how self-talk, we can create patterns that we live out. and we're running on scripts. Mandy just talked about that. Like she had that script. We need to flip those scripts. So what I want you to do is grab a notebook or something to write with, and I'm going to give us 3 minutes, and we're going to write down negative self-talk statements that have creeped in around our Plexus business, around you as a leader, your team, anything. I just want you to brain dump. Don't overthink it. Just get it on paper. We're going to do like 2-3 minutes of that, and then we'll do next steps after that. Okay, so grab something to write with. I'm going to have you recording yourself speaking some affirmations in a minute. So you have to have something written down or you're not going to have anything to speak. So grab something to write with or do it on your phone, something. 2 minutes, just really quick, okay? Anything that's negative self-talk. And I will put some examples in the chat too, just to kind of prompt you, okay? All right. And this is not going to be all inclusive, like you can do this again later, but I want to give you something to start with. So like I said, you can start implementing this right away. Does everybody have something on paper? At least like 2-3 things. All right, so what I want you to do is we're going to take like 2 minutes and I want you to flip the script. So rewrite each one of those things into a life-giving affirmation, something that you could speak over yourself daily to replace that old thought pattern. So if you said, I'm not good at sales or something like that, or I'm not good at getting joins, you instead could say, I serve others with confidence and people are drawn to my heart. So I will again put some examples in the chat of like positive things, but I want you to write specific, like right next to those things that you put down, I want you to counter it with a positive thing. Okay, about 2 minutes to do that. All right. And grab those, the ones that I just put in the chat, grab those, copy and paste that and put that in the notes section of your phone too, so that you have those, because those are just good general affirmations as well. If you are not, I thought about that, Justina. If you are not on your phone, I want you to take, we've got 1 minute left. I want you to record these, the ones that you just wrote. I want you to record it in the voice memos on your phone so you can start listening to it while you brush your teeth every day. Just so that way you've got it. Okay. So let's just take like a minute. If you're not on your phone, go ahead and do that. Just speak those out over yourself. So I'm a magnet for women who are hungry for growth. I have everything I need to succeed today, or whatever you wrote down next to your negative ones. Take a minute and do that. Or if you can't, just keep working on countering those negatives. All right. It's 10 o'clock. If you did not record them, look me in the eyes, record them as soon as we hang up here. Promise? Who's going to implement it this week? If it could make him lose like 60 pounds in 2 months or whatever the heck it was, I mean, seriously, like, what is it going to do for your business? That is huge. Let's do it. All right. Thanks, ladies. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.